Some people can play and talk at the same time.
Wait, is that you?
I have Achievement Hunter.
I have real trouble doing that.
Let's see here. Okay, so welcome to a fucking contentious bowl of dude soup. Oh,
That's every week.
this one particularly. Oh, it's thematic. Fuck, I got there late. That's okay. Still got there. This episode is sponsored by two. It'll make sense in a minute.
All right.
This guy. It's sponsored by two sponsors. We're playing Enter the Gungeon, by the way. Movement Watches and Casper Mattress. Go to mvmtwatches.com/dudesoup and they'll give you 15% off your entire purchase for fine watchwear, wristwear, bling, and then you can get $50 towards any mattress purchase from Casper by going to casper.com/dudesoup and using code dudesoup. So thank you, sponsors.
Whoa, look at that.
We'll hear
You
more
can
from them
wind
in
it.
a bit.
What does that do?
Winds it.
Ooh.
Look at my little guy
I
running.
can little set it there, huh?
I like his derpy eyes. Oh, you guys are.
I'm
messing around
actually
with your watches?
setting the watch currently. What time is it? 10. Okay.
True story. This watch got me laid. That's not a true story.
What time is it? Time to get laid. And then you just like winked at somebody at the bar.
Ding.
You wiggled your watch. It's time to get laid.
And their husband walked up and they're like, "You ready to leave?" She's like, "Yes."
Yes. Jesus.
Get me away from this creep.
I like her cigarette throwing. That's really cute. So okay. Speaking of the oh, you can control me too.
I'm controlling the camera, I think, right?
Nope, you're controlling.
Yeah.
So speaking of the intro, we got some drama talk this week.
Oh, yes, we do.
Drama with a 20-minute rolling R. Both PewDiePie and Markiplier posted videos about it. Essentially, roughly saying the same thing, but there's some differences. PewDiePie.
Now, about what in particular?
Drama.
Well, what kind of drama?
Yeah, drama about what?
Namely,
About
specifically the Toby Turner rape accusations drama.
Do you think
it was that?
I know that's what spurred it on. And just because it's been circulating the internet for the last
That was the straw that broke the
2 weeks.
camel's back.
I really
dramatic
think
back.
the reason I know that is because I watched PewDiePie's video, and basically what happened was he pointed out a bunch of people that were then accusing PewDiePie of like sex crimes and all this other stuff.
What?
Yeah, which is absurd.
Okay.
Because they don't have any. It's like again, they don't have any evidence. It's just one of those things that I know where it was coming from.
I see.
Sorry.
Well,
go ahead.
to clarify, I was saying my reaction there. It's not absurd to accuse someone of a sex crime if they committed it.
Well, no, of course not.
I'm just saying that's a much bigger thing. If there is any sort of abuse going on in your life, please seek consultation in some sort of way.
Yeah, but what PewDiePie was saying is that they were jumping on the bandwagon of that.
Oh, I got you.
So like they're like, oh well, this is a YouTube star. Now I'm going to do this and try and get views. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so PewDiePie basically put up a video decrying how the tone or the temperature of YouTube has changed. Let's see here. There's some quotes here. He basically just called out drama in general. Quote, "I can't think of anything more stupid to waste your time on, but it seems the internet would disagree with me on that one." He remarks how kind of the temperature of, or the tone of YouTube has changed. Quote, "It's created this mob mentality where everyone is so on edge and everyone is so ready to attack their next target." He describes a cycle in which talking voices or talking heads or anyone with an audience will whip their audience into a frenzy and then just point them at somebody else to attack.
Oh, go ahead.
He suggests, quote, "Maybe they're stepping over other people's lives for YouTube fame and YouTube recognition." Quote, "Maybe we shouldn't use the internet as some sort of platform for justice." So, God damn it.
You'll get there.
He's essentially calling out something that's been happening in like cable news media for a while, which is it's just a more combative, more aggressive atmosphere instead of the green pastures of YouTube creation that some people assume still exist. Markiplier had kind of a similar take, basically saying that the YouTube scene is getting a little more cynical and a little more aggressive and combative. See here, he says, quote, "What I see from doing this for 4 years is a self-fulfilling cycle of pessimism," saying that there are content creators now who are just after influence, viewers, and money. And he says pretty straight up, like, that's not bad. I respect this. He says that he couldn't or wouldn't do what he does for free. It's his job. So Markiplier at least very upfront acknowledges, yeah, this is a job and people should make content to get viewers and get money. That's the point. That's what makes the system go. But he also says that the attention is shifting away from content creation and more towards competition, that content creators now feel like they have to directly combat and compete with other content creators to get an audience. And they do that by maybe being insulting or just bringing up bad press about other people. essentially just it's just getting nasty. So that was kind of the decry on both parts. Neither of them really had much in the way of solutions.
Well, there is none.
Yeah, mostly because from my perspective there isn't a solution. But they do seem the thread that I took away from it, and this was just my interpretation, is that it sounded like both of them were concerned that because this is where the audience is going, that the atmosphere where they enjoyed success may be changing, and maybe one of the fears is that they will have to change what they do to stay current.
I would say from an outside perspective, I think those guys are fine. They will always have an audience. People like Markiplier and PewDiePie for very specific reasons. I might like them for different reasons. Like Markiplier could read the freaking the back of a cereal box and it'd be fine. The guy's voice is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like if worst case he can get a job voice acting or something. He is fine. He will never have to succumb to the cum licking bottom floor shelf of just digging into people's lives who are considered celebrity. Like I don't think those guys will ever have to get into that. I hope that's not their fear, and they'll just continue making content that they want to make. For as popular as PewDiePie is, he does look like he enjoys what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, which is great. Which is actually a big reason why I like YouTube, or just online video creation in general. Is a lot of what I feel like we do here is stuff that we want to make and things we want to do. Very rarely, if ever, do we ever do anything we don't want to do. I don't know.
Gotta open that map.
Love trigger.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like Markiplier seemed to lament the change in tone, whereas PewDiePie, as I've gotten this tone from him a couple times, and granted, this is just me watching what he says and then trying to kind of read between the lines a little bit. He seems to lament being in the position of being a celebrity, where people will report on his tweets, and he's like, "What are you doing? I'm just some dude."
Yep.
And I don't know, man.
I'm glad he still sees himself that way.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
that's good.
But the bummer is you're not. You are the world's most popular YouTuber.
Yeah.
And that, like it or not,
Cool.
And at a certain rate, or at a certain point, humans don't let you decide who you are anymore. And that's a weird way to say it, but once you hit a certain level of celebrity, suddenly you become a public figure, and then the public owns your image.
There's a line from a Simpsons episode, one of my least favorite Simpsons episodes, but it was a line that always stuck with me. I think it was like an Alec Baldwin, Kim Basinger episode, and I think Homer's like going through their trash, and like Lisa's like, "You can't do that," and he goes, "Well, they should have thought about that before they started trying to express themselves creatively." They're like, it's funny because like these are guys who just want to make a living doing a thing, but it does come with the repercussion of, well, people will know who you are. That guy just turned on you.
Yeah, he did.
He's got to test you.
Oh, shoot that dick.
Oh man, bullet hell! You're playing Toho now, Bruce. So I'm curious, because it seems like, from my perspective, it seems like this is inevitable with all media. Somebody's gonna be there to make the media that people want to consume.
Sure.
And people, by and large, don't always want to consume the most intellectually stimulating, morally upstanding content. Sometimes they want garbage. And is that...
That's why TMZ's so popular.
Yeah. And even...
It's like, we saw the celebrity outside an airport. Whoa, wacky!
We yelled at him until he made a stupid face, and here it is. So...
TMZ's shit.
It's shit, but it's legal.
It is, which it shouldn't be. For the they shouldn't be allowed at the airport. That's bullshit. I can't bring a bag of protein powder through the freaking security, but this dude...
You can. They just have to dump it out in your suitcase.
Fuckers. Yeah. Meanwhile, a dude with a giant Panasonic camera can be like, "Hey, Kanye. It's like, God damn, I know it's a public place, but it's...
Oh, he's banging the ground. Oh, he's a little
anyway,
sad. That's really cute.
I think it's stupid.
So, how it occurs to me is, there's a path that all media takes where when it starts, the early adopters are the ones who rush in, and due to them kind of maybe being a little more progressively minded. Sure. Here, I can take it. All right, Adam, you good?
Yeah, I got it. It's fine.
Maybe due to them being a little more progressively minded, they make content that's pretty interesting and unique, but then once the money starts flowing in and other people, your P.T. Barnums of the world, figure out that there's money to be had, then they start to figure out how to make mass market media. And mass market, forgive my characterization of, you're a little dude man.
Kind of.
Forgive my characterization of this, but mass market tends to be pretty pretty bottom feeding. Like
well, it's broad appeal. It's not that it's not bottom feeding. It's broad
lowest
appeal.
common denominator is what I would say.
And the thing I wanted to make a point earlier about it was that you guys are talking about how they, these are guys just wanted to make videos, and I think they have a little bit more of a point than celebrities do nowadays, in the sense that they started YouTube kind of when YouTube wasn't a thing.
Okay.
So like back then, they didn't start YouTube to be famous. They just started it to make videos, and they wanted people to watch their videos,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And now that they are involved in drama, because they are large YouTubers, I think they maybe should have had a little more foresight, but I'm guessing they did, because they're very smart guys. And it is totally within their right, and I think it's kind of cool that they are saying, guys, like, we shouldn't be involved with drama. And I understand why they're doing it. I understand that that is something that if they think they say, it might help, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I think that's totally fine of them to do.
Oh, your helmet popped off.
However, and they haven't gone off the deep end. They haven't flipped out. They haven't gotten really angry about the whole thing and like done some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Instead, they did exactly what they should have done, which was make a YouTube video about it. And so far, so good for them. I think that's totally within their right to say, like, there's no need to talk about drama. However, the more that this happens, and the more that YouTube becomes a thing,
the more prevalent it will be.
They're just going to have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And that's the funny thing about celebrity nowadays, is that when I hear a celebrity whine about how their private life is in the public, I'm like, fuck you. This has been a thing for 40 years. Like, you should have known by now.
Thousands of years.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, just in today's actual modern market,
sure,
they knew that if they became a celebrity and became really, really famous, that's what would happen. Like, that everything was going to be on display and all that other stuff. And there are lots of celebrities that deal with it just fine, that know how to deal with it and actually know how to market themselves and know how to do PR for themselves. So just like take a lesson from them, rather than whining about how the system is wrong. Like, it's been the system for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it comes to two different schools of thought. You can learn to deal with it, like most people have, and I think you kind of become dead inside. You lose a part of you.
Dodgeball.
Like, I think like guys like Tom Cruise and stuff are just. I think you can kind of see how there's nothing really going on behind the eyes. It's sort of this glazed over look, or like Ben Affleck tuning out when they're doing that interview, and he's just like, I'm so fucking tired of this.
I think they're just hiding. I think they're hiding their emotions.
Of course, no, that's what they do.
And they've gotten good at it.
Or you could be like the Coney 2012 guy and then go like slam the sidewalk and then exactly. And so you can kind of see the different ways people deal with this sort of thing. It is this weird fucking. I have this thought often.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
There was a way to do co-op somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe you have to unlock it or something.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of cool game.
Go for it.
It's all right. It's very Dark Souls.
Yeah. It's like Dark Souls.
Either way, I don't know. It's a weird thing because the word celebrity doesn't necessarily mean famous or world famous or
rich
or yeah, exactly. We live in this strange time in human history where there is a career of being a like pseudo celebrity. People know who we are, but I would never consider ourselves famous or wealthy or anything like that, or even successful. That's more of a joke.
That's a joke for you guys. Just a little goof humor.
I would say that we're
having a good
successful in
time
the way
here.
that we get to come in every day and make fun content.
Right.
I enjoy that. That to me is a level of success that I don't think a lot of people get to experience, and I'm always thankful for that.
So for me, when like what you just talked about, the level of success that PewDiePie and Markiplier have reached, I think the trade-off is worth it.
Do you?
I do, because if, for example, they have never raped a woman,
For example.
they don't need to worry about it. And
Sorta.
No, I mean, honestly, like it's
So PewDiePie, not to interrupt, but just
Yeah,
to kind of contradict that point, PewDiePie
Sure.
did post a few examples in his video of like, this is what I have to deal with. And he said, like, I don't want to specifically name them because I don't want to drive attention here, but there are people, like there are people who just make outrageous claims like, PewDiePie attacked me.
They
He's
do
like,
that.
I've never met you. So in a way, they do have to deal with.
Or like the guy
some
who
of that
said
stuff.
Well, no.
Gavin wouldn't sign his hat.
Well, but they have to deal with that in the sense that they just have to watch a video. So and that's what I'm trying to say is that it isn't affecting their lives yet. And the fact of the matter is also, by the way, I was going to bring up a point that I wish I knew more about this legally, because like eventually that ends up being libel or slander.
Oh yeah.
Where like they're saying you raped me, but you never even had any interaction with them, then that's libel or slander, and at that point you might be able to actually have some legal action towards them.
Well,
But
like
then to
every-
pursue that, you're just feeding the drama machine, right?
Totally, absolutely, and that's
And
what
then you're just driving more negative attention towards yourself. You
Definitely.
also in a weird, fucked up way are rewarding the person who libeled you because now their name is all over the place.
Right.
And everybody's going to take sides even though they don't know the story. And people are going to be like, oh, I know he did it. I know he did it. And you're like, I didn't fucking do it.
So the best thing that PewDiePie could have done is he got really close to it, which is making a video. Although he called attention to those other videos. If I were him, I just would have been
The right
like,
way.
"Those are all dumb.
He didn't.
You guys are
He didn't
stupid."
call anyone out specifically.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Markiplier.
He
is
just said,
very-
like, this is the kind of thing I have to deal with.
Well, no, but
just in
he
a
showed
way.
their videos.
A
So-
small clip, but he didn't
Yeah.
like link to it and didn't give anybody a way to find it. He was just like,
right, but he still showed them. So
Yeah,
and so that's what I'm saying is that like, you know, like I think he got really close. And like I said, I think these guys are very, very smart. I've never ever thought that Markiplier and PewDiePie were not smart guys. They're very smart businessmen. So I get it. I understand. Like, I would feel offended as well if somebody was like, "You did this" or "You did that." Like, I would obviously feel offended about
shooting.
that. But at the same time, the more famous you become, and like PewDiePie is the #1 YouTuber in the world.
Yeah.
So a lot of people know who he is, and he's probably met a ton of people. So this ends up being the world that they live in now. If he doesn't want to do it anymore, back out. Don't be in YouTube.
Yeah,
you know,
but
like-
I mean,
Oh.
I don't
oh,
know.
green guy wants out.
I don't think.
talk to him.
I don't think
Talk
there's
to him.
any going back. Oh, talk to him.
Yeah, he looks cute.
You can
here.
stop the bleeding.
Oh, there you go.
You can definitely stop the bleeding. You can't go back. You're right, but you can stop the bleeding.
I don't. It's a weird
You know?
thing. Like the obsession with celebrity is so strange. It was funny. I finished that OJ show, the People vs. OJ.
Yeah.
They talk about how Kato Kaelin and Kris Jenner and all these people like went on to like have reality TV shows. It's like these people were nobodies.
They were nothing.
It was because they were loosely associated with a person who may or may not have gotten away with murder. Mm-hmm. How weird is that? It's like this is a guy who knows a guy.
Yep.
Put him on a show.
Is there some kind of bird minigun boss? What's going on here?
Yeah, we're
yep.
fucked. Oh,
Great.
God.
Cool. That's exactly what it is. All right.
But
Oh, Rainbow Bird.
well, like you said.
Oh, he hulked out.
Oh, holy shit! That's awesome.
Apologies for audio.
Dialing
listener.
goal.
Well, like you said,
He's got little like armpit hair. That's awesome.
like you said, Adam.
Fuck this guy up.
It's they were loosely associated. They were nobody when it came to that, but that is the world that we live in.
Yes.
And
I agree.
and it's like even more so now with all sorts of social media and like that. It's everywhere. Everything we do is everywhere. And it's funny. I think about this a lot recently. That all of my movements and things that I do can
Bowel
be
movements?
tracked.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
They like if like I am only in a few places throughout the day. Like it's work or home typically or Chipotle. But
now people know that.
But if I tweet from Chipotle or whatever Snapchat, people know that I'm there, right? So then they know I'm there. Like and they can figure out I was there for an hour or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I go to work and I tweet from work and I'm like, this is what I'm doing at work. You could even if I wasn't doing that, they could still find out where I was at pretty much any point of the day.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind. And imagine a guy like PewDiePie who's got even more, like 100 times my reach. That's the world that he lives in. So if he, like I said, you can stop the bleeding, meaning back out of all social media, back out of all YouTube, and be like, okay, I don't want to be a celebrity anymore, and eventually you'll fade away in like 6 months or
Did I
so.
tell you about the guy who sent me my address?
Oh yeah, yes you did.
That was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, a guy. He, bless your heart. Short-sighted fan. But he sent me a message privately. And he was like, "Hey, just so you know, I found your address. I won't tell anybody, but I know it." And I'm like, well, this is my life, and that's stuff like that makes me want to just quit altogether and be like, I just want,
Yeah.
I don't want that. But like Bruce, you said, that benefit is I get to come in every day. I make videos with my friends.
Yeah.
I get to enjoy my job. So I'm like, well, this might end with me getting stabbed one day, and I've kind of accepted that, and I have lost a bit of my humanity where I. Well, no, I kind of second guess every situation I'm in. Because I'm like, if someone comes up to me like, hey, I'm like, how do you know me? What do you know me from? What are you doing?
Are you a crazy man?
Are you a crazy person, or did you see a video that I did? Because I ran into a guy over the weekend. He was like, I was like, hey, I know you. Or he goes, hey, Adam, what's up? And I'm like, I don't know you. Do I know you? And he was like a normal looking dude. And he goes, you moved, right? And I went, yeah, we just moved. We moved over here. And he goes, no, you guys at the office, you moved. And I was like, okay, so he watches videos.
He watches the video, right?
So
Funhaus.
I am now trying to do like a cold read on him.
Yeah.
We all
based on
do
what,
that.
What he knows
Yeah.
on me.
I just ask, man.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I'm like, sorry, like, do I know you? And they're like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, I watch your videos. Is there a key?
It looks like a key, but
Right there?
I think it's
Looks
just.
like a
I think it's just,
it's just
debris.
It's just trash.
Well,
Things.
Another thing, so on the other side of this, and I'm not saying this to you, people would say, "Oh, well, you're feeding into it by making videos about your life on your channel."
Oh, okay.
Right? They like,
Sure.
oh, you're talking about your life and you're talking about personal stuff and blah blah blah. So like,
I have nothing else to offer.
yeah, oh no, right, exactly,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'm. It's like I like doing this, like doing the stuff that we do and talking about our lives and personal lives and stuff like that. I think that's a lot of fun.
Go get it,
And I, like my goal in life is to not hurt anybody else that way. But for me, I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to almost anything.
Yeah.
Actually, no, not almost anything. So it's if a fan walks up to me and is like, oh, I heard, like this is your address and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to confirm with him, but I'm also not going to be like, I can't believe you know this stuff and get all upset about it.
I usually just sigh and go,
right.
Because like, in what world is it okay for me to go to anyone's house that I found online and go, hey, I just wanted to talk?
Yeah. No,
Like-
you're right.
Like I get it, it's cool, but
Oh, wait, did somebody show up at your address?
not that I know.
Oh, they
of.
just said it. They just said, hey, this is where
Yeah.
you live now. Okay.
But that's the thing is, I'm in a sad, weird way. I'm kind of expecting that. If that happens, I wouldn't go, oh my God. I'd
Yeah,
go,
you're like, oh, all right.
I go, yep,
Yeah,
this
this is gonna happen eventually, I
This
guess.
is what I deal with, and that's fine because I get to have a cool job.
It's the trade-off, yeah. It's
No.
the trade-off that we make.
So I'm curious what you guys have to say about. Oh shit! So both PewDiePie and Markiplier obviously kind of lament what they perceive as a change in tone on YouTube
Yes.
towards more like aggression and anger mongering and stuff like that. More celebration of drama.
I can tell
participation
you
in drama.
exactly why that is, but I'll let you finish your
Well,
your question or thought.
both are kind of just like, man, this sucks, and PewDiePie like very specifically was just like, let's stop this. I don't think that, or sorry, the quote was stop doing this. I don't think telling people to stop is going to make them stop. Do you guys think that there is a way to like address this in any kind of way, or is it just inevitable?
There's an extreme solution.
What is that?
You take all the dumb, ignorant people and you put them on an island and you blow it up.
Eugenics.
That's not,
is
that's
basically
not a real.
what I'm
That's
saying.
not a real
And
thing.
Exactly, and we're not going to do that because it's inhumane.
Well, it's also not a real thing. You can't round up dumb and ignorant.
I know there's not a big enough island.
Or a test to figure out who's actually
There,
doing
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's
There was always the joke of people
You watch
being
Keeping
like,
Up with the Kardashians?
Well-
Well, get on the boat.
so you remember, there's always the joke of people saying like, man, the comments on YouTube are awful. It's always awful comments, right? There's always like, it always goes hand in hand, bad comments in YouTube.
Yeah.
Har,
There we go.
har, har, har. And I was always like, yeah, because the most people are on YouTube. People are shit. Like, there's a lot of shit people. There's a lot of good people.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more louder, dumber people, and they tend to just flock to the biggest ocean. And right now they're all on YouTube. So YouTube's only going to get bigger. And so it's not, and people, mass majority of people, like you were saying, like things like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and like easy consumable content that they don't need to think too hard about. And drama is one of those things. Drama and gossip are very easy to fall into.
Yeah.
Because they're easy to consume. They follow very simple narratives. You go, he said this, she said that. What the fuck is going on?
The Bullet King.
Bullet
Bullet
King.
King.
Look
my
at him.
God.
He's so cute with his little floating throne.
Do you need to do an ad read, by the way?
I was just looking at that. I was going to let Adam finish the point.
Please,
oh,
please,
no.
Adam, finish.
Oh yeah, I saw Bullet King and I don't know what's happening anymore.
It's just in his little bullet throne.
Regardless, I'm just saying the only thing you could really do is there's plugins for YouTube that will just have Reddit comments
Changes
going
all the
instead.
herpaderp. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see
or
what you mean.
herpaderp, or you can't change the mass majority of people from what they are. That you just cannot do that.
Yep.
So you either have to learn to deal with it or choose how you consume that. You could ignore it completely or find a different way of filtering it out.
So your message to your
I have
advice
no
for-
message for anybody.
Well, I'm gonna put words in your mouth then.
Go for it. I have no advice to give other than
Well, it seems like your advice is this is just how it is and deal with it.
kind of I deal with it in a positive way so you don't feel bad.
Adam, I'll take the
When you go to
stand.
sleep.
I'll say, yeah, just deal with it. Like it's one of those things that you're gonna have to deal with. Again, I think PewDiePie did it the right way, which is he made a video about it and said, stop it. Like,
He remained positive.
And he
which
remained
I like.
positive, yeah.
Stay positive. I would say don't change your content. This isn't to PewDiePie or Markiplier or anybody. This is more for anything for us, but don't change your content to adhere to what the majority of people are telling you that they want.
That was another.
Do what you want to do.
That was another point that I want to address after your ad read.
Okay.
So go for it.
Oh, look at this stupid little guy. Oh, I killed him.
That's a stab gun.
I killed him.
That's axe gun.
Yeah, it's a huntsman. Okay, so if shit, I was trying to think of a segue, but it fell apart.
You got
fell
it.
apart at the last second there.
You're good at these.
Well, guys, it's time to cut out the drama.
Perfect.
And it's time to get a watch.
Yep.
Oh boy. This podcast is sponsored by Movement Watches. That's MVMT Watches. Excuse me. Gosh, I've got all kinds of frogs in my throat today. Movement Watches, they're a company with a simple goal. They want to make your wrist classy as shit for not a lot of money. Only $95 is where their watches start, and they look good. And you know what? Be a contrarian. Be old school. All these douchebags with their Apple Watches around. Get a real watch. Guess what? You don't have to hit a button for it to tell you the time. It just does that all the time.
You just turn it like this.
And it doesn't buzz and make you look down from whoever you're talking to, which is kind of insulting and stupid. Yeah, that's right, Apple Watches. I'm calling you out. Wow. Movement Watches cuts out the middleman, which allows them to sell watches at a discount, so they don't go through retailers or anything like that. They just sell direct to consumer. They say, imagine that, a watch with department store quality for a fraction of the price. Do people even know what department stores are anymore? Doesn't matter. But Movement Watches sure are great. They've grown organically through social media and things like that, and word of mouth, so they're at the point now where they can start advertising, and that's what they're doing now with us, which is great.
Good stuff.
So if you've gotten a job, you're starting to get some income, you have dreams of a high fashion lifestyle, a nice watch is a good place to start. You've seen all those ads with Leo looking sharp as shit with his watch. I don't even know what that's an ad for. Who cares? Movement Watches will get you there a lot cheaper than Leo can. I'll tell you that. So please go to mvmtwatches.com. That's movement, but it's mvmtwatches.com/dudesoup, and they'll give you 15% off your entire purchase. Once more, that's mvmtwatches.com/dudesoup. So check them out. I've always been a fan of watches. I like them. I don't know if this is oversharing, or maybe this will hurt the ad read due to how dorky this is.
Oh boy.
But do you ever imagine when you're getting dressed in the morning and you imagine all the stat boosts you get from all the stuff you're putting on?
No, I never do that, but now I will.
When you put on a watch, it
Now I
raises your
will.
intelligence.
I would agree. It also raises your attractiveness to women.
Yeah, charisma.
Or other, or men for that
Hey,
matter.
whatever you want to attract,
Yeah,
a watch
whatever
will
you
help you do it.
yeah.
So once more, that's mvmtwatches.com/dudesoup for 15% off your entire order. Thank you for your sponsorship, Movement Watches. Yeah, pants, that's armor. Shirt, armor, maybe a little charisma, depending on the pattern you got.
Okay.
Shirt's gonna have different stats. Glasses, that's perception. You know how it works. Adam.
You have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, that's so cool. She's attractive too.
She's a lovely lady.
She's a very lovely lady.
All right. Well, speaking of drama, had a bit of a bout with that over the past couple of days. More than just the meta discussion about drama or any of the other YouTube drama. This one's a little more interesting to me, at least, because it actually affects a lot of people's lives as opposed to just one he said, she said. Not specifically referring to Buscus, but more just like that's the form drama tends to take. Anyway, there was an article that was on VentureBeat, and it's not the article that a lot of people got mad about, but we'll get there eventually. I just want to give the whole story. The International Game Developers Association Executive Director Kate Edwards did a really cool, Dean Takahashi did a cool interview with her, basically talking about how the IGDA is collecting more accurate data about the practice of crunch time in game development.
Explain crunch time for those who don't know.
Sure. Crunch time.
A new show airing on Rooster. No.
Yeah, it is a new show. But it's also the process by which it's pretty common in game development. It's pretty common in all development actually, but it's very common in game development.
We have crunch time every Friday.
Essentially, yeah, ours is pretty concentrated every week, but so in a multi-year project, as the project is coming to an end, typically due to some of the factors that Kate describes in the interview, they will be massively behind schedule or have all these features they have to cram into the last second.
When they're developing a game.
Yes. And they're under a time constraint. So what happens is typically the last 2 months, maybe more, maybe less, of a project will be down to crunch, which is people working 80-hour weeks, nights and weekends, to get everything done.
Goodbye, family.
Sorry?
Said goodbye, family.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a drain on the family. This practice was specifically brought to everyone's attention with I don't know if you guys remember like God, I think it was like 2007, 2008. It was called EA Spouse. Essentially a wife of somebody who worked at somebody developed at EA.
Yeah.
Wrote like an anonymous blog.
Like, please give me my husband back.
Yeah. That's essentially what the tone of it was, is that she was essentially describing this is what our life is like, and it's not fair. The biggest part of it was, or the biggest part now that's being shined on it is that this is all unpaid overtime. So employees are working 70, 80-hour weeks during crunch.
That's
not being
illegal.
Compensated for it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you go to court for that.
Yeah, you have to class action sue. So it's interesting because there are a lot of layers to this that I'll get into in a second, but just to kind of highlight the topic at hand and how problematic it is. Let's see here. This is a quote from Kate Edwards talking about the data she's seeing. Between 2014 and 2015, we saw 38 and 37% of developers, respectively, in the years, stating that they don't get compensation for crunch time. That's ringing an alarm. That's a huge percentage. More than a third of developers get no compensation for something that's common in our industry. The occurrences of crunch are declining. It's not quite as often, and when it does occur, it's not quite as long, but it's still happening. I'm expecting we might see that continued trend. Looking at it on a yearly basis, maybe it's not quite as good of a snapshot, but I don't think it'll change that radically, but we'll have to see. So essentially, the interview with Dean Takahashi, Kate Edwards was talking about their new efforts to actually research crunch in the industry and what they do to try and help. And it's hard to solve with a capital S, something like that. She just basically says in the examples she's seen, it comes down to management, like time management, feature management, things like that. Feature creep, which is something where, like, as a project goes on, people say, oh, it'd be cool if it has this, and oh, it'd be cool if it had that. And when you're 2 years out, you're like, yeah, we got time, let's throw it all in. And then once you get down to 6 months away, you're like, oh shit, there's way too much here, and we have to get all of it done, or the game's not going to work. So now we're on the hook for all this stuff because we either said it was going to be in the game in interviews, we released trailers that show these features, and now we just have to do it. Otherwise, goddamn, those gamers are going to fucking...
They're gonna flip.
Yeah, they're gonna lose their fucking minds. So those are kind of the causes. But when it comes to remedying it, Kate Edwards says that the IGDA will privately talk to a company and say, look, you guys are kind of an outlier in this. You're crunching your employees way too hard. And then she can also run down all the benefits to not crunching, which is employee retention, happiness, productivity, all those things. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Alex St. John also wrote an op-ed on the same outlet on VentureBeat that basically said that's just how it's going to be. That in the games industry, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, whenever you have a surplus of employees or a saturation of people who are willing to do the work, that's just the trade-off that's going to happen. It kind of reminds me of, like, to put it in less like adult terms. I shouldn't have said it that way, but like at a GameStop, they are not hurting for employees. So they pay all of their employees minimum wage. The rationale being, if you don't like it, you don't have to work here. But by working here, you're voluntarily agreeing to this. I'm going to pay you shit and work you a lot because you have the luxury of working in a game store.
And you're only speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, and I worked at a GameStop for 4 years.
All right. Loved it.
Got a set of keys.
Did you ever get a raise?
I did when I became assistant manager.
Ooh.
And they made me work open to close shifts in Christmas because no one else wanted to.
Well, that's
no one
so
wants
I got
it.
no one ever wants to.
I got like $1.50 raise an hour.
That's not bad.
Wow.
No, that was bad.
Man.
Because that was from minimum wage in Texas.
What color Lamborghini did you get?
I had a 1979 Transporter that didn't run. So
Is this just a copy of the movie, or?
no.
Oh.
Oh, I had that too. Don't get me wrong, but no, it was the car.
Good for you.
So I've been through a few jobs where, and this one included, even though I'm kind of over that hump, where a surplus of people willing to do the work means that you have to kind of pay your dues in a weird way to prove that you can cut it and that you're worth the time, because there's a lot of people who are just lining up to do it.
Yeah, I've done that I think we all did that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you pay your dues, you do your thing, and like I remember there were lots of nights you stay till 4 or 5 in the morning getting the job done, and you hate yourself for it, and your family's like, "Where are you?" And you're like, "I'm working."
So
Hopefully, with the hope that it's going to pay off in some way, and doesn't always do that.
no, of course,
But
and
it
I
is-
think
yeah.
people in the situation of game development are not like don't have that bright of a future. Rather, that's a really crappy way to say it.
Wow.
More that there's no. They can only look forward to the project being done and shipped, and then they get a break.
Damn it.
And then they start on the next one probably at the same rate and in the same position that they worked on the last one. Unless you want to work up into senior management or something like that. And even then, it's not like crunch goes away. So, the Alex St. John article, that was the nice way of saying what he had to say. The not nice way, his tone was pretty inflammatory. He said, quote, many modern game developers have embraced a culture of victimology and a bad attitude towards their chosen vocations. They complain that the long hours and personal sacrifices great games require are a consequence of poor management. They want to pretend that they can turn an inherently entrepreneurial endeavor like game development into a 9-to-5 job. Somehow, these people have managed to adopt a wage slave attitude towards one of the most remarkable and privileged careers in the world.
Wow.
So he basically posted a huge, pretty scathing takedown towards this mindset that people deserve to be paid for the overtime work they do.
Oh.
Yeah, so people didn't react to that very well.
Surprised.
But and I feel like also there was something also kind of shitty that happened is they dug, like people found a presentation he did from like a couple of years ago about how to manage wives and girlfriends, and it was also pretty good old Boise in its tone, so that didn't help his cause at all. People were very quick to label him like a shithead and a sexist and what have you.
Wow.
But what I can say, and it's not in his defense, but to understand this dude a little bit, Alex St. John is nuts. He is a Steve Jobs type. Like, he works 80-hour weeks and loves it. Let's see here. Let me look up some stats on him. He basically pioneered DirectX. He was one of its co-pioneers, I believe, at Microsoft. And I'm kind of whiffing this off the dome, but I recall that he worked at Microsoft and headed up some huge projects until he had to stop because he hit like clinical exhaustion. I think he had to go to the hospital or something.
Wow.
So this is the guy who's kind of saying this stuff. Let me see if I can find that.
You see someone dies at like a League of Legends, cafe, and he's like, yeah.
He's like, of course, that's what they have to do.
That's what you got to do.
You gotta die. That's not funny.
Let me see. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. Because I read up a bit about him. Let's see here. Alex St. John along with Craig. This is from the Wikipedia article, by the way. Alex St. John along with Craig Eisler and Eric Engstrom created the original Microsoft DirectX technology platform. Alex became the Microsoft Windows game technology evangelist for DirectX through his early work at Microsoft to advance Windows as a dominant graphics and media platform. So yeah, DirectX is awesome and has done a lot of good things for games.
Sure.
And so I guess what I mean to say is he's not just spouting shit. Like, he actually works like that.
Right.
And
But just because he works that way doesn't mean everyone should.
yeah.
It is a weird mindset people get into. Or like, oh, I did it.
No,
You're in a bad
I
place.
know. Oh boy.
Okay, well, I can't remember where I
Jeez.
read
Holy
that he
fuck.
had to like, I remember reading that he had to retire because he worked himself to exhaustion, but I can't find that right now, so that's my bad. It may not be true.
I was gonna bring it up to Bruce. Like, we're in a weird situation because we don't typically, no one has like we don't clock in, clock out
Right.
sort of thing. It's like,
We're all salaried.
yeah, it's like clock in, and I mean, technically, legally,
Well, we don't get paid for our overtime either.
no, we do not.
But there are two different forms of employees in California.
yeah. But here's the other part too. I don't want to be at a job where I'm looking at the clock going,
Oh yeah, like I gotta go.
oh, do you see that? You doing that?
Well, it's
You
right
doing
there.
that? Yeah,
You don't have to look around on the wall. It's right on your wrist. man.
exactly. I don't want that job. I've had those jobs where
Yep.
you're like, and go.
Yeah.
And I've worked with people like that in this sort of job where they're like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I'm out. I'm like, but the things I've done, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm done.
It's 5 o'clock. Yeah.
And Bruce and I have always been like, no, dude, like,
We gotta finish it.
work until you're done. And it's not, so it's like, I'm kind of in that situation where I'm like, if you have a job that you love, great. You're going to work until it's done because you like what you're doing. But at the same time, I understand if people are in game development and they don't like it, then it's like, don't do the overtime. Get the fuck out of there. You probably won't continue having work, which sucks. But if you don't like it, you probably shouldn't do the job you don't want to do.
There are also that's one salient point. There's also another one, which is if you work at a job, like, you honestly do some research on the job you're taking. Because if, for example, you're a tester, let's say you're a game tester, you're probably I think it's a non-exempt employee. I think that's what it's called. And when you're a non-exempt employee, at least in California, that means that you can make overtime. When you're exempt, that means that you're salaried, and basically if you work a 60-hour week or a 20-hour week, you get paid the same. But if you're not exempt, again, I could be wrong, but if you're not exempt, then that means that you can make overtime, or you have to make overtime. It's illegal for you to work more than 40 hours a week. And when you take a job like that, just do your research before you like sign up for a job that you think might end up making you, work more than 40 hours a week, like a tester or a game developer.
Well, there's also, I didn't mean to be too condescending in my original tone, but one thing is like do jobs that you don't like to know what you don't want to do.
That too, yeah. Of course.
And like Lawrence's time at the video game store. Like,
actually, that was one of the better jobs I had.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying you would never go back to that, though, right?
I mean, I can't say never.
Not for the same rate.
There are other jobs I probably wouldn't do again, but I mean, I'll work wherever I have to work if I need to earn money. Like if this falls through and then like I can't get a job doing software development or whatever, sure, fuck it, man. If I gotta work, I'll
Someone will hire you as a professor.
Who knows?
Or like a butler. You could be a good butler.
But anyways,
I'd hire you.
I'm talking like post-apocalypse though. There's no butlers.
On the one hand,
sex butlers.
Sex butlers, yeah.
On the one hand, it is absolutely
simpatico.
it's illegal for a company to hire you in a position that should be non-exempt, meaning you should make overtime.
Yeah.
But companies are going to do it. They will take advantage of you. Yeah. So you just got to be really careful.
Much like gossip, taking advantage of people has been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Thanks, pharaohs.
What I found most fascinating about this discussion, and not even dipping into the drama part of it, because holy shit, people got so pissed about it, and like it bugs me when somebody chooses to insult or boil down an argument into its base concepts just so they can kind of high-five their bros and say, look how stupid this motherfucker is, instead of saying, well, he may have a point. Let's actually talk about what he's saying instead of... Anyway. So there...
You're saying you agree with the racist sexist.
No. I'm saying neither. I'm saying that what this seems to be is a difference between what would be nice and what the reality is now. And it seems to me to... How you discuss it seems to reflect how you problem solve. So, most people... And bizarrely, a lot of people that were very loud about this that I saw weren't game developers, so that's kind of weird. But at the same time, they have a right to say what they want to say and also stick up for the rights of people that they like or respect. It seems to be a difference between people loudly saying, it should be this way, and like, that's fine, you could say that, and other people saying, but it's not, and instead of saying how it should be, you need to appreciate how it is. And this is how it is. What I liked about Kate Edwards' approach is she actually said how she was going to try to help, whereas most people on the internet just say, this is bad and stop.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of reminds me of
Coney.
PewDiePie, or Coney, which is like, this is bad, so stop it. Well, that's not going to stop anything.
Yeah, like lay out a plan, basically.
Yeah, and you can't, especially when it comes to drama. That's human nature. You can't
I hit the like button on Facebook. The kids have water now.
Yeah, right. I love that. Isn't that picture of the like speeding through the internet, turning into water, and then coming out into some kid's hands? And
There's a weird thing we people do, like recycling, where people go,
gotta get rid of your guilt.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, well, I know I'm ruining the environment, but I put it in the recycle bin, and therefore I'm better than Jesus. And it's like,
better than Jesus.
Yeah, well, it all goes to the same place. Like, huh? No, I put it in the blue can.
So
right, but it all goes to the same place. Yeah, but I put it in the blue
Adam,
can.
You're so adamant that recycling does nothing. Have you been to a recycling center? Well, I'm just curious.
It's all recycling centers are built into the dumps. They don't just go.
Have you been to a dump?
No, I haven't been one, but I've watched video.
Okay. I haven't even watched videos. I'm just saying people. People get very religious about that sort of stuff.
I've done minimal research, which is more than most people.
That's true.
People just put the trash can on and they go, "Yeah, I know where it goes."
I don't even think they think that much about it.
No, they're just like, whatever.
I've heard that. I think it's Adam Carolla that says basically if we're not throwing plastic and glass into our trash, and we're using like the recycle bins, that we're taking jobs away from people, because basically if we're putting it into the trash, that means that we're letting them sort it later.
Oh, whatever.
This is what I've heard.
That's how high schoolers justify leaving their shit on the tail. The janitor cleans it up. I'm giving him work. Good. I'm doing a good thing.
That's a shitty attitude. But no, most of this stuff does go to a plant. From what I've seen, there's a plant, and there are people whose job it is to sort the recycling out.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying the people who have this weird stick up their butt of like, oh, you don't recycle? It's like, well, no, you recycle whether you want to or not. That's happening. Your iPhone got recycled. I bet you didn't know that.
Costs not city money, though.
You see that story about Apple? How they recycle? They got like $83 million in gold back from all their phones that they recycled.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Also, they put a lot of gold in their phones, apparently.
Man, people who own iPhones are rich.
Typically, yes. That's why I use Nexus.
Well, you know, you don't have to be rich to have
What?
a Casper mattress. and a good
Aha,
night's sleep.
you're right.
That's a good segue.
I was gonna go like, if you've been developing too much and you need a good night's sleep, but we moved away from that one. So, you know, you gotta move with the times,
move
like
with
game
the times.
development. This podcast is also sponsored by Casper Mattress, who make the best sleeping surfaces I've ever slept on. It's like a mix between memory foam and what the other one is. I can't remember. There's two kinds of hot new sleep tech out on the market. This is both, baby. It's comfortable but not too squishy. It doesn't get too warm. It's basically the right amount of sink for a given body.
Keep going.
And if you're not convinced, they have a risk-free trial and return policy, and this is actually super cool. You can buy a mattress, keep it for 100 days, and if you don't like it, they'll pick it up and refund you completely
With their stains and all.
Yeah, stains and everything.
Your smell,
Yeah, your rank smell.
your funk.
We know you've been grinding your butt into that thing every night.
Oh,
You
gross.
could just wipe,
That's
but you
fast.
don't. You
That
just
was really
grind it into the
fast.
mattress. So yeah, you basically, it's risk-free essentially. You don't even have to worry about shipping it back. So if you've been
Yeah.
feeling some aches and pains, maybe you're getting a little older, getting up there,
Well, there's two of them. That's
or if
why.
you just want to treat yourself, fuck it. Or you know, you graduated college and it's time to graduate from that mattress you found on the side of the road with all the stains on it. This is an excellent way to do that. I remember when I graduated college, I bought a mattress and it cost like $800, and it wasn't as good as the Casper mattress that I got. And the Casper mattress was cheaper, so figure that out. It's only $500 for a twin and $950 for a king, which is as much as mattresses cost. Actually, a little cheaper, and it's better. So you should check that out. Go to casper.com/dudesoup and use code dudesoup to get $50 off of any mattress, which is a pretty awesome discount. So that combined with the trial, give it a shot, man. You sleep a lot, 8 hours a day, maybe less, but that's a lot of time to spend on a crappy mattress. And boy, is it wonderful after a fucking long day to just be like, oh, maybe that's another old man thing.
I just realized. So, let me know when you're done.
I'm more or less done.
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say we went to your home a little while ago, and I immediately ran into your office to see the G-Sync monitor. And I was like, I need to see this thing. I was impressed. It's big, probably not worth the price, but I forgot I should go lay in your bed, even though you probably had countless romps
Oh
in
man,
there.
so many romps.
Yeah, much.
gross.
Casper mattress, good for romping.
You guys
I'll
are
tell you that.
disgusting.
Man,
What are you talking about? It's part of the human experience.
I don't want to
does the
hear
bed
about it.
Shake a lot.
The frame does. The bed does not.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Really don't want to hear about
It's great though. Like it's got that squish, so you can kind of dig in and get some good anchoring.
it. Oh, man.
Your knees or your feet or what have you.
Just your knees need to be comfy.
Yeah, right. I got rug.
Do you
burn
also
before.
flex in the mirror and stare at yourself?
Not yet. Don't have the mirror up just yet. No, actually, take that back.
Put
You're
one
right.
up and then one to the side.
so I can see myself at all times.
Well, I want to look at my butthole.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Why are you in the way? I don't want to look at your titties.
Me.
Flexing in the mirror. Me now.
Yeah.
Buy a Casper mattress today. That's casper.com/dudesoup. Offer code dudesoup, and romp like you've never romped before.
You shall romp.
Thank you, Casper.
Good sponsor.
So yeah, they're gonna love that one. So I guess to kind
Don't
of,
forget to roll, buddy.
I know. I'm calm down.
I feel
I'm
like
aware of the role.
I feel like these situations are both the YouTube drama situation and this particular situation is similar in the sense that there's kind of two camps to approaching and discussing the problem, and I said as much before, but just to reiterate, there's the we should not accept excuses and only strive for the best. But those sorts of discussions end with kind of everybody agreeing, yes, it would be good if all these problems weren't problems anymore.
Yeah.
And then it just kind
I
of
wish my
stops there.
back didn't hurt at night.
Yeah, right? Wish you had a Casper mat. No, we're done with that. But the other side of it, which is kind of like us when it comes to drama, of just saying that's just the way it is and you can't fix it. But when it comes to crunch time, Kate Edwards did provide some concrete things that the IGDA is planning to do to try and help. But what bugs me is everyone that I saw like loudly and very venomously decrying Alex St. John's article didn't really offer anything else aside from saying this guy is a piece of shit and shouldn't say these things. So I'm curious, how
are we gonna fix crunch time?
Yeah, because so you just say just make the companies pay their employees. Okay, but they don't have to. And also, I mean legally, depending on the state they're operating in, yes, they probably do have to. But
But people will do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing. People will do it.
When there's a surplus of employees, this is what happens in a free economy. So you're essentially saying, do we have to regulate it then? Are you arguing for government regulation?
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure you'd say no to that.
Yeah,
not you, but
well, you can unionize. You can.
Yeah,
but you can also okay. So let's say that there's a game developers union.
Sure.
EA's like, we're not hiring out of that union.
Yep.
If you want to work for EA, don't be in that union. Guess what? No one's going to be in that fucking union.
Yeah. It's a tough thing. There was a precedent set many moons ago. If you're interested at all, because we don't really have time to get into it, but the history of movie studios and how actors went from. Actually, if you watch the movie Hail Caesar,
it's got a
you get a good look at it. But the history of film creation and acting is fascinating. Before the Writers Guild, before SAG, and all these other things, essentially you were like an employee of the studio, and it was like I talked about this before, but like Adam West, he didn't really try out for the role of Batman as much as it was like, Adam, you're on this show today.
Assigned to him.
Here's the script. You're in Studio A. Go for it. And if you watch Hail Caesar, it's a lot like that.
It's because they cranked those shows out, and so many of them were garbage. Yeah. So they were just like, who gives a shit? Well, just throw somebody at it. We got a roster of talent.
Right. And then at some point, someone made the decision, a smart agent, right, and said, well, you should be able to work for whoever you want. And then they started taking the power away from the studios. And now the power is in the actors and the producers. So now J.J. Abrams can go work for Disney, and then he can go work for Paramount the next week, and no one's going to bat an eye. It's an interesting change. That doesn't exist, but with that as well, like you get weird, like Hideo Kojima things that happen.
So, Adam,
weird situations.
I'm curious because I feel like that system only works as long as the public knows who you are and cares about you.
Correct.
So if you get done wrong, kind of like the EA Spouse situation. If a random developer is like, I just had to work 80 hours, everyone's going to go like, okay, if you don't like it, quit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I can go to another developer where I'll probably also work 80 hours. The genuine solution, or rather the way that the system is supposed to work, is that there's supposed to be a developer that does things the right way. They don't crunch, or they compensate for crunch, and then every developer would want to work there. So by offering those perks, they get the best talent.
There's supposed to be one of those.
Yeah, and then EA would see that they're losing talent, and be like, oh shit, I guess we should start paying people overtime. That's how the system's supposed to work, but clearly it's not.
But
So what's the fix?
Well, there is no fix.
Well, the fix is honestly what we're doing right now is ideally we're talking to somebody who is the next major game developer who might head up a really big studio and like basically ends up getting wronged by the system that they were in. Or they were like, you know what, I'm going to do things differently. That's what. So like, you know, if Cliffy B decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to pay my employees what they're worth.
Maybe he does.
And maybe he does. Yeah.
We're not game developers.
Exactly.
We don't know the industry.
So his studio will get larger and larger. He'll get more talent because that'll get passed around the industry. That's what's that should happen at some point.
Yeah.
And it probably will, because like Adam said, it was, you know, early on in the movie industry, there was terrible business practices and things like that, but eventually people caught on. So it's, you know, game developing's been a thing for 30 years, let's say.
Getting close to 40, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's evolving, and I think these kinds of articles help. When people are like, can you believe this is a thing?
Yeah.
You
get interesting things too now, like indie game development and mobile game development and other kind of companies making stuff. Like it is changing, it's ever evolving. It's a big reason why I do like this industry a lot, because it is different yesterday than what it was, you know, the day before or in the day after that. So I don't know, it's ever changing, and I ultimately I hope that people are being compensated what they're worth, and they're not working themselves to death to the point where they don't see their families. And hopefully they have time to make a family, and you can see why people get burned out. And maybe there's a reason why, you know, people are like, I just want to go to this smaller studio, or like, I'm going to go work on League of Legends, or I'm going to go take a job at Riot because they pay really well.
And they don't kill me.
Yeah, and they don't kill me. Yeah. The game's already done. It's great.
Yep. Yeah.
And we can work on something else, and we can take our time. Maybe that's why a lot of people like working at Blizzard.
Well, gentlemen,
maybe there's not a lot of crunch.
We solved all the problems in this podcast.
Absolutely not. No,
we solved every one of them.
We are just a bunch of
solved
dudes.
The YouTube drama problem.
No.
We solved the game developer problem.
You're welcome, everybody.
So there it is.
Hold on. I'm going to take this fucker down.
All right. Okay. We'll see what happens with Lawrence.
Did you have a different gun, or is that it?
Oh no, I shot his little advisor. Whoop.
Oh, he's pissed.
Oh, he's coming after me.
He's pissed.
He's coming after me. Get on.
Shoot him. What are you doing?
I had to reload. Ow.
Oh, roll.
Oh.
Dodge roll. Like Dark Souls.
I thought it was the other one for a second. The other man. The other bullet man.
Really?
I really wanted a better... Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we need a better gun for this.
Yeah,
man.
I was trying to get one, but there wasn't. I didn't find one in the arena. Also, we were closing the podcast away.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fine.
fuck it, it's time to go.
For those who are listening only, we're playing Gungan?
Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the
Get it?
Gungeon.
Because it's dungeon, but with gun. Because
Yeah.
everything is gun themed.
Do you like Dark Souls and Zelda and guns? This is a game
It's
for
fun.
you.
Yeah, it's fun.
Actually, it seems like a fun little indie game.
It's really
Hey,
tough to play without a finger.
we
let me
got-
tell you.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I know.
I forgot you had a little broken finger.
Yeah, that's why you were like,
Have we-
just roll. And I was
we
like,
haven't talked about that yet, have we?
broken finger? No.
Do we have
Bonus time.
Do you have
Yeah,
time?
yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to
Tell the
Okay.
story. How did you break your finger?
So I was at the gym, and basically there are plates. You pull a pin out of the plates, and that's how you adjust how much weight you're lifting on a weight machine.
There's like 5 pounds, 10 pounds.
Right,
just
yeah.
Adding.
There's usually a little pin that you pull out, and then so sometimes they'll get stuck. And what happened was the pin was stuck into the weights, and I was like, all right, well, I know how to solve this because I've done it 100 times before, which is you put your hand on top of all of the plates, and then pull the pin out. Because you have to push down on all the plates, pull the pin out, right? So there, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, cool. My fingers are not in danger because I'm on top of every single plate. Well, it turns out, I still don't know how. I have to go back and look. Turns out there is a plate that holds all of the other weights down, and that's on the actual pulley system. And normally that one's at the very top. That wasn't up there when I put my fingers up there. So when I put my fingers up there, I pressed down on all the plates, I pulled the pin out, and the one that was above that isn't actually a weight, but is just the pulley system, slammed down onto my middle finger. And it was just my middle finger, and so it was one weight to another, and immediately, it was just immediately broken. I knew immediately it was broken. The worst and best part about it was that it didn't sever any nerves, and I could move it, but it was extremely painful, like some of the most pain I've ever felt for about 3 hours.
Oh, jeez.
And it was just like, I could not believe on how much pain. I was so uncomfortable. My hand was on fire for about 3 hours.
You went to the doctor, right?
I went to the urgent care. He was funny. He was like, well, you broke it. And I was like, yeah, no, fucking shit. Like, it was all swollen and like purple and it was
You're the
bleeding.
doctor.
Yeah. And he was
I'm a
like,
doctor.
And he's like, I think you broke it. He's like,
fuck.
I can't stitch it up because it's kind of it's like a surface cut. You can still see the bone. Like you could see the bone in the cut, but he's like, I can't stitch it. And he's like, and I can't really do surgery on you because I don't think it's all the way broken. He's like, let's do an X-ray. So,
Doctor or not?
yeah, I know, right?
God.
So he was like, you want to do an X-ray? And I was like, yes, please.
It's complicated.
So we did an X-ray. It was almost all the way broken through. It wasn't all the way broken through. So I didn't fully break the bone, but I have this shard of bone sticking out of this other piece of bone in my finger. It's currently setting.
And with that said, one quick reminder, we're going to be at PAX East this week.
Yeah.
We have a fan meetup.
We do have a fan meetup on Saturday night after our panel.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. If you can't make it to the show, you can still hang out with us. We'll find out. We'll have more details on that. Keep an eye on the...
Share it via the social medias.
yeah, keep an eye on the Rooster Teeth site and
Also,
our Twitter.
final quick plug. Let's Play Live has been announced.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
that's
shit.
Buy
right.
tickets for that shit.
Yeah, in LA. our
And
hometown.
so I believe tickets are still in pre-sale, which you can unlock using our code Funhaus.
We're getting slaughtered, by the way.
We are fuck.
Achievement
Also,
Hunter is
this
doubling
this
our
is
total.
this is the award-winning Let's Play.
What?
We won an award.
We did?
Let's
yeah.
Play.
That's right. The Shorty Award.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
There was fan art of you.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
Please go to roosterteethlive.com. That'll send you to ticket sales and use our code Funhaus because Achievement Hunter sucks.
Achievement Hunter's like
blow.
doubling our total.
Fuckers.
So show
Stupid.
Achievement Hunter that they're stupid by buying tickets for us.
I'm going to lie and say the more tickets we sell, the more in the show will be. So if you want to see more of us,
That's a lie. Lawrence is saying a lie.
It's totally true. And I know because I'm doing the show. I'm planning it.
No, Lawrence
It's me.
isn't planning the
Not
show.
Jack at all.
Still lying.
It's me.
Last year, Lawrence fell
That's right. He did. He was so drunk he fell.
on his own accord.
No. It was a pratfall.
It was a pratfall.
It was a pratfall.
Yeah.
I wasn't that drunk either.
You were.
That's still probably my favorite gif of all
I bent
time.
my glasses because they were in my back pocket.
So he didn't fall because he was drunk. It was a pratfall.
There you
Yeah,
go. Somebody
but still,
think
you
you
will
guys-
suffer for your entertainment.
just
so
before we
come
went on
watch.
stage, you guys bet that I was gonna fall, and then like the show was winding down, and somebody came up and was like, "Hey, you didn't fall." I was like, "Oh,
Jeff's in the corner hurling and like, falling over.
we got that Titanfall 2 trailer.
Oh yeah.
The robot sword.
Let's call it a teaser. Call Space
Yeah, it's a
Space.
teaser. Yeah, you're right,
It's
you're
not a
right.
trailer.
Yeah.
The full trailer's coming at E3, right?
Probably. I imagine
Oh,
there's
it's coming in June.
there's
I
bound to be a
believe.
gameplay demo. EA's
They don't
press
have a
conference
release
is on
date, do
Sunday,
they?
so. I'm sure they will announce it at E3.
Well,
Probably,
yeah, but-
it might be this year.
yeah, it's got to be this fall. Has to be.
fuck
What
this.
else are they
Here we
competing
go.
with? There's no annualized shooters aside from Call of Duty anymore. And Call of Duty might be taking a year off. I don't know.
I'm really bad at angry video game nerd.
It's a jumpy shooty.
Yeah, I can't talk and pay attention to this.
It's tough.